With the popularity of reality shows like Antiques Roadshow and Pawn Stars, people across the nation are sifting through their attics and basements in search of that special something that could make them rich. John Reznikoff is a document and signature authenticator and the president of University Archives, and is here with some tips on what to look for if you're buying or selling. Pretty interesting stuff, John. How'd you get into this?
I started when I was 8 years old collecting baseball cards, and then it was stamps, and then it led to one thing or another, and I still do all those things. So I kind of feel like I'm a kid still playing with baseball cards. It's great.
So I know that you actually been on Pawn Stars before. That's pretty cool. Do you think with all these reality shows it's becoming popular, even more so?
It's in everybody's eye. You know, the things that they have in their attic are not just junk anymore because they're seeing tremendous value come out of the attic or the basement.
Okay, so people call you to make sure it's real, more or less.
Yes.
So when you have a document, is it instant? Do you do some research? How do you know?
Most of the names, because I've handled them so many times, instantly I could tell whether they're real or not. Sometimes it takes a little bit of research.
All right, well, let's talk about the items you brought here today, because they date back quite some years.
Yeah.
What's over here?
This is from the, well, everything here relates to Connecticut except for the George Washington.
Okay.
And also, most of these were found in an attic or a basement at one time.
Wow.
So this is signed by Rutherford B. Hayes, President of the United States, great-grandfather, and it relates to Benedict Arnold and making guns for his division. And Benedict Arnold, another Connecticut man.
Yeah, no kidding. All right.
This is signed by Oliver Wolcott in 1824. It's about 200 years old, and it talks about the presidential elections and kind of what's going on at the time. It's a newsy letter.
Now, where are these items stored? Do you keep them? Are they in museums? What's the next step for them?
Well, I keep my inventory in vaults, but often they do. Museums do buy them, institutions, universities. Yale has a big collection.
Okay. And next?
This is William Howard Taft, and this is a letter about, and it's written from New Haven, and it's a letter about psychology and parenting. I think I forgot to read that one, but but it's a neat little letter, and something written by a president can be as little as $500.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. All right, now this was the days before the internet.
Yeah, this is how we got our news. There was no texting back then, so.
Wow.
And this is a Connecticut journal, and this is of particular interest because it talks about John Adams' inaugural speech. You know, it took a couple days to get the news out back then, but we got it here in Connecticut, too.
That's awesome. All right.
This is the favorite item that I brought here. This is signed by Abraham Lincoln.
I've never seen Abe Lincoln's signature before in real life. That's pretty cool.
And it's a very valuable item, and it relates to Connecticut because he's calling troops, a couple thousand troops from Connecticut to fight in the Civil War.
Wow, and this is fascinating, too, on the end.
Yeah, this is kind of an ensemble of three different things.
Okay.
One is George Washington's signature. Then we have a piece of George Washington's coat. And most interestingly, some of George Washington's hair.
How do we know that's George Washington's hair?
Well, it's all the provenance. And provenance is the history of an item. It's not a place in Long Island. It's where it's been, the letters that go along with it to tell its authenticity. And I evaluate those as well.
So, John, you said you've been interested in doing this since you've been 8 years old. What are some of the standout items you've come across?
Well, I currently own John F. Kennedy's car that he rode in the day of the assassination. Not the one he was killed in, but he drove in it.
Wow.
I have Ernest Hemingway's typewriter that he typed his last book on.
Oh, it's incredible stuff.
Yeah, really neat things.
All right. Well, this has really been fascinating. Thank you so much for all the information. Do you have a website or a way people can get a hold of you?
I sure do. universityarchives.com.
All right. Thanks so much for being here on Connecticut Style.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up next, Chef Sherry Swanson puts a twist on traditional burgers when style returns. We'll be right back.